down to Tapco first thing Monday. They open at 8. I'll be there at 8. They're going to go through it for me. It's another one. It's not a part of the Western trip this summer. That's the little dingy vehicle I have to bring along to run around in, and it's getting a little older. It's got some miles on it, and then just needs to be checked out. Needs a good service and oil change. And I absolutely trust Michael with my ride so that I'm not left stranded during that big gigantic road trip. Same thing for you guys. Just do your routine stuff with them. Then you build that relationship, that confidence level. Once you meet Michael, you know what I mean. He's straightforward. It's a professional high-end shop. They can handle everything you take in there. Then if you do wind up in a situation where a light comes on, you got an engine situation, some mysterious thing is happening, and you don't want to wait in line at your dealership for that kind of work, just go see Michael. It's good to have. There are a few experts you need in your life with certain things, and a service tech. Like I said, we used to call them mechanics, but it's way more sophisticated than that nowadays with all the computer hardware and everything that goes into a vehicle. Let them handle it. They've got the diagnostic tools, the right approach. They'll even give you a shuttle. I may get them to do this for me on Monday. If you're anywhere near downtown, they'll shuttle you back to work on your car all day, get it back to you that afternoon. For me, it should be just one day of checking out everything. It is TAPCO. It's an acronym for the original name of the business is Total Automotive Performance Company, but the acronym's TAPCO, and they don't just work on the high-end things anymore. They do all of our cars, and they're going to take care of my little Jeep. TAPCO, downtown Birmingham, 6th Avenue South. Hey, and drop my name. He might even give you 10% off. They're working a deal sometimes on some of their services. Not too bad. You'll enjoy getting to know these guys. TAPCO, TAPCO, TAPCOBHAM.com for your appointment. TAPCOBHAM.com. All right, let's go back to Chase. Chase was like me. He had thoughts, especially about this college thing we just talked about. Chase, the floor is yours, man.
All right. Sorry about that earlier, but anyway, number one, God bless you and AJ both. Y'all bring the truth as always. So let's start off with that. But no, so I kind of fell into that trap. I talked with y'all a couple weeks ago about, I'm fixing to take a law enforcement exam a week from today. I fell into that trap too about, my parents really pushed, go to college.
Yeah.
I went to college. I got a degree. I actually tried working in my degree field for about a decade, and I've come to realize I hated it. I hated it with a full passion, and so I looked elsewhere, and the truth is, the college degrees are not the magic silver bullet that they used to be. And partly it's because there's a lot of kids going to school getting degrees that are a step above they're just a step above worthless. and the truth is, when you got I got a gentleman I graduated high school with, and he basically said, he just went and got a general studies degree because, as long as you get a college degree, you'll get hired.
Yeah.
That
not anymore.
anymore.
And it used to be, it was just a minimum status thing. Well, it's got a bachelor's. And then it was like, well, you got to have a master's because bachelor's isn't good enough anymore. Everybody's gone and gotten their 4-year. And so people kept going back and getting additional degrees, and it's absolutely meaningless in a changing economy where what's really changed is the status is gone. There are employers, if you're warm-blooded and you're smart and you can learn their systems and can self-teach and get along with people, they'll hire you. They're desperate for decent employees that have a good work ethic. They'll take that over a snotty, whiny, degreed lawsuit factory any day of the week.
Yeah. Well, Leland, it's funny you say that because, I'll be honest, I've been on the hunt for a job in the tech industry for about 2 years now before I decided to switch over and go into law enforcement. And the truth is, I've had enough interviews. I would call and talk to people, and the interview wouldn't go my way and everything. And it's where I currently work in retail, I hear people who are managers fussing all the time about, well, we just can't find anybody to hire. And I'm like, I'm over here look, I'm applying to jobs left and right, even jobs that I know I'm not qualified for.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like, come on, I'm willing to look. I'm not like, it's like I laughed. I'm not like everybody else. I actually like getting up and going to work and want to work and provide for my family because, I mean, hey, and also I got, to end on a happier note, I am now a father of 3. My baby girl was born last Friday.
Oh, congratulations.
7:45. So I am a father of 3 now.
What are your other two, the boys or girls?
My oldest is a girl, my middle child's a boy, and my youngest is now another girl.
He is sandwiched in between 2 girls. Well, then you know how to handle girls. Then you know what you're getting into. It's a change in dynamic for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, of course, me and my wife are both like, we're kind of worried because we're like, man, how are we going to afford this? But hey, we're honestly making it up as we go.
One day at a time, my friend. That's the old gospel song, and it still holds truth. One day at a time.
Sir.
All right,
God
buddy.
Bless y'all.
Thank you, Chase.
Bless y'all so much. Take care.
Look, and the thing is, and I'm not over here trying to give total career advice because everybody's different, and I always admire pursuit of knowledge. Man, if you want to go get a lesbian pottery degree because you want to feel smart, do it, but you're not employable. And nowadays, even some of the more basic things that people were going, very practical things, are getting rearranged because of AI. So you need to study what you're getting into. The simplest way I've ever heard it put was actually Elon Musk, who put it this way. He said, if you're pushing digits, your career is vulnerable. If you're pushing atoms, you're safe. What does that mean? If you're working in the tangible world, in the real world, like these guys that have been out at my house the last few days, putting up the power lines, redoing the transformer, I had guys come digging footers and pouring concrete and getting things built. That has to be done. Society will always have those needs. That's a physical world. I've got other people in my life that are analytical. They do things on a computer screen all day. And if that computer can do that instead of you, you better rethink your career choice because efficiencies will lead to a lot of companies. Now, some companies are learning that it can't replace the people completely. There's also an economic doom loop of AI that if you cut out all these paychecks for the sake of efficiency, you're not going to have any customers. There have to be paychecks. So we got to make things again. We got to build things again. We got to work in the physical world. We'll always need to eat. We'll always need shelter. We're going to need the creature comforts of life and all the things and people that produce those things and service those things. But some people are in some fields that are just going to get moved on. And that's not new whenever there are new technologies that come along. The guys that were experts at shoeing horses started losing business when the car came along. There were just less horses to shoe. It's just life, and it's what happens. But as far as the college requirement, again, that stigma is falling off with both the kids and the parents. Not stigma, that's the wrong word. The status symbol of going to the right school and getting that, achieving that accomplishment is still an accomplishment, but it doesn't necessarily improve or advance your life. And you just got to weigh those things. One of my kids is in medicine. One went to engineering. One does computer stuff. All those are strict disciplines that are necessary. We still got to train doctors. I know we'll have AI tools that doctors will use to diagnose and treat things we couldn't even figure out in the past, but you're still going to have those human beings, nurses. You've still got to have cops like Chase is going to go into police, and we got to keep bad guys away from us. But the world's changing rapidly. And one of the first statistical anomalies associated with that was that article that I shared that showed a huge drop in kids that even want to go get a degree in the first place. Some of that could be laziness too. We've got an entitled society right now that just doesn't want to work at all. And some people just don't want to put the time in, but some of it could be very practical where they're just looking down the road going, why would I do that? Why would I go into debt for something I don't want to do that's not going to have any value to society? It's a good question to ask. David is on line 2. What's up, David?
Hey, Leland. Good afternoon.
Hey, man.
Hey, just want to make a comment. At Tuberville, I really, of course, we always he was our man at Auburn. I think that was not really a good deal for him because, the majority, I think, still love Tuberville. Tuberville is a good man, and it's not just that. he doesn't need it. Just like Trump does not need, he doesn't need the president's job, but he's doing it. I'm thinking just he loves the country and he's committed. And the other thing I really wish people would answer for me, how can you even look at the other side? You had 12 years of basically an empty office up there. They opened our borders. Can you imagine if we had had 4 more years of that? Can you just for a moment imagine where we would be right now? I mean, I'm nearly 70 years old. I've seen a fair amount, and I'm humbled and thankful to have lived here, especially. But I'm just saying, I do not. I mean, Doug Jones, his nickname's Race Car Jones, and that's not no throw off on blacks. Charles Barkley, a few weeks ago, I watched him say, he said, man, I have been a Democrat for, I've got 40-something years. And he said, I see what's going on now. He said that. I watched him on TV. And he said, that's not, people are making a living on the backs of these people. You look at Donald Trump and you look what he is doing for everybody, not just this group or that group. You've got Hispanic.
There a bunch of Trump's detractors are doing way better nowadays because he's president. Even though they still hate him, they've got jobs. The economy's getting better. Life is better. They may still get up every day and suck lemons, but things are better in this country, and that's indisputable.
They are, Leland. They're great. But anyway, buddy, that's all I wanted to say. I just, like I said, I'm sure that. I feel sure Tuberville's going to be our next governor, but I pray every day for our country and for our military, and I just know that as long as we have got real leadership, you rest assured we'll keep moving forward. Anyway, thank you so much, Leland.
Thank you, David. David's got a unique voice. We should hire him to do commercials. No, but seriously, Tuberville will be. Let me criticize Republicans right now. Not just the fact Doug Jones is in the wrong party in this state. These people have lost their minds. The Democrat Party has gone nuts. They've gone nuts. They're not just a little bit wrong on issues like the Democrats I grew up with that I loved and hung out with. They're embracing and ignoring craziness. Some of the craziest economic theories, social theories. Hell, look at what they just did in New York right now. They want to replace the term mother with gestating parent. Mothers don't just gestate. Being a mom is a lifetime. I mean, it's the miracle of birth will always make guys feel humble if you're a decent person. The fact that women can do that and what they do to bring life into this world, but it's all that stuff after that. The most unconditional love on planet Earth is the love of a mother, and it never goes away. I don't care how bad things get for you. Mama's there. Mama is there. Dads come and go. Dads let you down. Moms will be there. And these idiots want to hijack that institution that's worked since the dawn of humanity. And in their arrogance, they think they can rewrite the way we communicate with each other and change that for what? For a fraction of a percent of the population that may get their feelings hurt because somebody uses the word mother? How did I go down that dirt road? Anyway, so they've lost their minds. So back to Tuberville. We just coasted through 10 years of Kay Ivey. Sweet woman, been around her a whole lot, used to know her quite well, but hadn't done dink in 10 years. We've done great as a state, largely because we're on a big, giant cruise ship, and we just happen to have a good room. The economy's good because of what the economy's doing. She was dead wrong on all the COVID stuff, the rhetoric. That office has been run by a committee for 10 years. So Tuberville doesn't need any particular expertise to go in there and find a group of people to help guide the office. That's the way it's been run. I don't even remember what Bentley ever got done. Bob Riley was the last proactive governor we had. Granted, I helped run his first campaign and knew him quite well back in the day. Hadn't talked to him in years, but he had a forward agenda. And I didn't like his agenda when we got down there. He wanted to raise our taxes. I was like, what the hell? I was miffed by that. But he went on to become a heck of an industry recruiter and represent a forward image of the state. I'm watching all these governors around us project the state well on the national stage, and we need a communicator in the office. The policy nerds can figure out the policy stuff. But as far as brands, Doug Jones he's got the wrong label on him. He'll get 38% of the vote, and that'll be it. If he gets 40, it's a good night for him. It'll be 60-40, and we'll be off to the next 4 years because of things that are, the Democrats in the state, they've just about run all the white Democrats completely out of their party. They've become a segregated party, and they need to fix that. And they've got a national brand problem, even if a lot of the Democrats here around Alabama are pretty decent people. But as long as you're willing to go to your political convention and stand next to all these idiots that are on the national stage doing this stuff to the country, you're never going to have an ounce of credibility with normal thinking Americans or Alabamians at all. It's just not going to happen for you. Sorry, cuz. Good try. Birmingham Broker, bringing you the show tonight, bhambroker.com. If you got a car, truck, or SUV and it's time to sell, buy, trade, whatever you got going on in your life, Craig and Keith can help you with it. They're just good at this stuff. They know what that car's worth. They know how to track down a buyer and do all the negotiating, and then they transact the paperwork for you. That's the part that drives me crazy. It's tedious. You misspell something or get the odometer wrong or some date, and you got a disputable contract, and then you're still dealing with the Yahoo that bought your car. Let them handle it. It creates sort of a wall between you and the transaction. They handle the whole thing. You get the fat check. Go and find you another one at these wonderful, wonderful dealers around town. They're downtown on 4th Avenue South, near Iron City, near our friends over at Birmingham Broker, near Tapco, that whole area of Southside. Roll up in there and talk to them. Let them see what they can get you for your ride. bhambroker.com, bhambroker.com. Back here in a minute. Man, my man Greg Nelson over at Storm Restoration has been able to play a little bit of catch up this week. It had rained. He told me earlier this week. I think he was just trying to be transparent with the audience that he had not been able to get on a roof in 15 days with all that rain. That is a rain sensitive industry. So if you still need roof work, reach out to him, but be patient. They've got some catching up to do because they get a lot of business from this radio show, and naturally so. And then it doubles when the storm comes through like Monday, and now he's got roof damage things to go. He has to prioritize those. If somebody gets a leak, got an emergency situation, he's going to bump them to the top. Greg is an outstanding human being, much less a decades-long roofer who's just the best in the business and will come square you away no matter what's happening on your property, whether it's a complete install because it's just getting old or you wind up with an insurance situation. You want Greg on the job, or it's new construction. I'm doing some additional work on the house. It's going to require a little bit of roof that's going to have to match and look good. And I trust Greg to get that just right. Again, almost 30 years in the business, all his sons and daughters working with him in the business and his family. That's the way you do it right there. 2 generations, the family name's riding on it. Here's that phone number, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531. Man, just straight tragedy. I was one of our listeners, well, several of our listeners keep me up to date on things as the show goes along, and we have given a little bit of mention to this young man that's missing in Japan, Spain Park grad, Auburn student. Just such a mystery. They're searching areas where they thought he might have hiked. I saw where the Japanese government was even out searching around in knee-deep mud trying to find him with sophisticated technology. But his mom, Nancy Higginbotham, has told, I think it's People magazine had this story. This has become a national story because it's really an international story. But she said, and talking about the last moments, they were over there on a trip. And she said they'd been traveling together that week. They were celebrating their 18-year-old son's high school graduation. And she said that the family had just gotten into a dumb argument about her, the mom, using ChatGPT too much on their trip to plan the trip. And this young man, Weston, he majors in biosystems engineering, and he's very opposed to how much reliance we're having on artificial intelligence. And, we were just having all that conversation this hour on how that's changing everything. And it does create tension. I got family members that use it for everything. And I think it's fine. It's a tool, but it's got this capability to lie to you or reinforce what you think you already know. And I'm not sure that's always the best thing to do. But as a society, we got to work that stuff out. We got to figure out where we're going to put these data centers, how we're going to power these things, how we're going to use it as humans, who's going to have a job when it's over. It is the most fundamental change since the Industrial Revolution. And now it is cropped up in the middle of this missing young man's story. Prayers up for that family, though. I connect with that story because I had one that was an international traveler and liked to do those kind of adventurous things. And don't we all? I mean, you're proud of them for being bold, especially sons that are a little more aggressive and less smart about these things than daughters. I think it's overconfidence, and that's always the challenge as a parent, is to instill confidence but not make them cocky. Make them feel strength but not make them feel invincible. And that is always, even into their 20s, that's difficult as a parent. And I guess there's also a lesson in here of be super careful, I guess, how you leave things with people in your life. And I don't think the family was telling that story to make that the story, but that's an aspect of the story. Just be careful how you say goodbye to people, because things happen fast in life, and I've seen it many, many times. Not that we have any definitive notion that he's, it could be a clue that he just dipped, that he's pissed off and he's on a little sabbatical, but because I covered a story like that one time, and I wanted to smack that kid myself after what his dad went through. But prayers up for all of them, and even those Japanese people that are trying to help them. All right, bottom of the hour. We'll take some more phone calls too on any of this stuff y'all want to get in here. 30 more minutes, and then it's the weekend. Here we go. All right, it's 5:35, man. We are just getting it done this afternoon. Our friends over at Stockton Mortgage ready to help you out if you want to make a move on your mortgage. Some of you are sitting on some really good equity right now, and that's your money. It's tied up in your house, but it's your money. And in a lot of ways, rather than high credit card debt and some other irresponsible debt, loaning it to yourself at a reasonable rate with a amortized payback plan makes a lot more sense than these plastic cards that'll also, and you'd be surprised too when you consolidate debt and get those cards out of your life, how quickly your whole score goes up. It improves a lot in your situation. And then you're on track to make the payments and get out of that hole. It is, of course, Stockton Mortgage. You can reach out to them now. They will sit down with you. And what I call back at the envelope, just, you may not be ready to fill out forms and apply and pull your credit and do all those formal things. You just want to talk to somebody and have them answer some real questions about your specific situation. I know you can get online and Google this stuff, but it's just easier to talk to a human being. More and more nowadays, I just want to talk to a human being sometimes, don't y'all? So a human being will answer at Stockton Mortgage, and they'll get right on it with you, even through the weekend. It may take them a little bit longer, but they work all the time, and they'll start talking to you, and then y'all decide how far you want to go with it. It may be that you just get a whole deal done. They get you to the close at savewithstockton.com, savewithstockton.com. When is the, AJ, do you know, when is the big USFC fight at the White House? I've seen
it was on the 14th.
14th?
Yes.
Man, everything, there's so much going on this month.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What was on your birthday? Something's on your birthday. We talked about it yesterday.
Oh, yeah, there's something is coming on my birthday.
Well, there's movies coming out. I mean, that's a huge movie
IPO
weekend.
For,
oh, yeah, Tesla, SpaceX.
SpaceX, yeah.
So SpaceX IPO this month. Two big movies that could bomb or not. The Disclosure movie, the Odyssey movie. A lot of controversy with both of those. Man, Trump's having a UFC fight. Things are going to go down in the month of June as we head toward the nation's birthday. And then, of course, there's all the 250th anniversary stuff that the country's celebrating, or in some cases not, depending on how you see the world as we get through the summer. I think it's just going to fly by. Let me see what else I'm missing today. I've gone through so many of the headlines. I don't want to skip past too much. 545-9950 if you want to jump in here. Let me do a quick weather recap too. Just looking at the weekend itself, they have upped the chances for some pretty significant rain on Sunday. And that is much to my chagrin, because the clock's kind of ticking on some things I need to do to button the house up and be done. And I was hoping to have 2 full days of good weather this weekend, but it looks like Sunday. I don't think it's a complete washout, but earlier today it was below 50%. And one of the forecasts I just saw they added a lightning bolt. I know that's not very sophisticated, but I think it was on the Weather Channel app. Got a little lightning bolt on there now, which means possible thunderstorms on Sunday. So just be ready for that when you're out and about, whatever you're trying to get done. And then good chances of rain for most of next week. We may get some more dry spell late in the week, but then we've got to deal with this possible tropical system that could be much in the conversation maybe after about Wednesday of next week. Computer models showing a disturbance in the Gulf. Still don't know how it's going to develop or how big it's going to develop or which way it's going to go, but it's out there on the models, and there it is. Man, let me. I'm being like Scrollopotamus right now, doubling back on some things, making sure we're not missing too much while we shut down. Let me talk about Douglas Cooling and Heating too, and I don't want to talk about my project till I get obnoxious about it. But there's so many of our sponsors that are going to be participating in this thing. It gives me a good eyewitness story. So I've used Douglas for going on 17 years. Different properties that started with a house 2 or 3 houses ago that had an air conditioner complete meltdown. Middle of summer, that's when it's going to happen. Oh, when the system's about to pop anyway. And I had not maintained it properly. And the whole thing needed replacement. And I've told this story before. I had company in from out of town. I didn't know what to do. I was going to rent rooms for them. I felt terrible. We had no air. And when you're in that situation, and I don't care who the company is, all the companies get backed up because air conditioners just start going out all over the state. And so it takes longer. to get the parts, to get them out there. So they worked quickly though and got me back online. But I got a little lecture from my guy, but because he talked about what a mess my system was in. I'm gonna be real with y'all, I had never even had it serviced. I don't know how many years I was into that house. I just turned it on, turned the air on in the summer, turned the heat on in the winter, and let it ride. That was so stupid. It cost me, that system could have lasted several more years if I'd just taken care of it. But we got the replacement. I learned some lessons, and I've been doing my air conditioner work with this company since for everything. I was in the middle of a house purchase one time. The inspector noticed something that just didn't look right around the one of the air conditioner systems on this house. It was kind of a rusty collection of water or something. He just said, you might ought to have that checked. So before I bought that thing, I had these guys go over and find exactly what it was. We were able to work that out in the deal, but I learned a lesson there too. Do specific checks if you're buying a home or making a purchase of any type. Get your specialist in there to look at things like those systems, because the inspectors, they don't get into that detail. They're looking at the big picture on your home. So they'll check it, see if it turns on and off. But if there's something like that, my inspector and my air conditioner company saved my bacon. I would have bought that house and then had to do this repair. I think it was like $3,000, but we worked it out and everything was great. Second opinions, new installs, regular service, all of that stuff, emergency work, Douglas Cooling and Heating. You can get them online at calldouglas.com. License number 2017181. Just get them over there. Also, plumbing. If you wind up in a situation where you need some quick plumbing repairs, that's much more of a winter thing, but every now and then even water heaters want to go south on you. They do that too. Calldouglas.com. All right, let's go to line 4. We got Nick in here. I think he wants to talk about aliens. Good stuff. What's up, Nick?
Well, yeah, not necessarily about aliens. I thought I asked you last week and you wouldn't answer the question, but about a year ago, I remember you telling a story when you were in the field when you were years younger, but you had a angelic encounter of some sort. You were talking to some people on a farm, and some random person came up and had like M&Ms or something. And
oh yeah. That was the Christmas. Yeah, that was my food bank story. This little girl, we were out delivering food boxes at Christmas. My dad was real charitable with our radio station, and we would do food drives. And this was at the beginning of it. We used to actually deliver the boxes to the recipients. And that was our last stop in the trucks. All of our trucks wound up at this house at the same time because we were kind of done. We were out of supplies. And this little snot-faced girl came out. She was so pathetic. To this day, I almost want to tear up thinking about her face. She's a grown woman now for sure. But all she wanted was some M&Ms. I mean, she said, do you have any M&Ms? And we had just given her mom a bunch of canned goods and toilet paper and stuff. And just as my dad was about to say no, this guy walks up, and the story's a little bit fuzzy after all these years, but this guy comes from the road and said, some guy just dropped off this whole box of M&Ms. What do y'all want us to do with them? I mean, right on cue. And so my dad just took them out, started dumping them on her head and putting them in her coat pockets. And he showered this kid with M&Ms. We just felt like that was a God thing. That was I don't know if it was an angel of mercy or pure coincidence, but it felt like it made us all warm and fuzzy inside to see that little girl get those M&Ms.
Yeah, I remember that story. You said it years ago. I don't remember how long ago, but I'll never forget it.
Oh yeah.
If you could have one conspiracy theory answered, what would it be?
Okay, so the two biggies, I got to think on that for a minute before I go too long.
I'll give you mine. Okay,
let's hear yours.
Who built the pyramids and what's underneath them?
I would put that in my top 3 because I used to be fascinated. I wanted to be an Egyptologist when I was like 12, but yeah, I want to know how that got done. I'd like to know the truth about any kind of contact we've had with any kind of so-called aliens. I want to know who shot JFK. I mean, things like that. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it, Lou.
All right, man. I want to know, if I had to add to it though, I think Nick's gone. I also want to know who let the dogs out, because we have not had a solid answer on that since the song was out. AJ, have I ever told you that a buddy of mine had a bus rental business and he rented a bus to those guys that did that song? They had one song. Isn't that the only hit they had? The Baja Boys, wasn't it? The Baja Boys?
Men.
Baja Men.
Yeah. Actually, there's some ties here to Birmingham.
That's what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
They had this one hit, and they had enough success that they were touring off that song in a nice $1 million Prevost bus. I said, "Who's got your bus?" I was talking to him. He bought some of these buses and rented them to like Nashville Stars. I said, "Who's in your bus today?" He said, "Somebody I ain't never heard of them called the Baja Men." I was like, "Who let the dogs out?" He goes, "I don't know who let the dogs out." I said, "No, man, that's the song. Who let the dogs out?" Which you absolutely have to play next in the bumper rotation.
Of course.
Just got to have them. I hadn't heard that song forever. Southern Skies Dermatology, speaking of summertime and all the stuff we got planned, and here we go with all that. We're generally outside more, and we're generally wearing less and more exposed to the sun. Just look, do the preventive stuff with the hats. And I despise sunscreen, but if I'm on a beach or out on a lake, or I'm doing something that I know I'm going to be out all day, I'll try to remember to do it. I just don't like putting that stuff on. And I'm going to try to convert to sort of the sun shirt deal. Everybody I know that has those things just love them, just kind of keep trouble down. But the other component to that, it's one thing to be proactive, but you got to go get checked. At some point, you need a baseline to see if you even have it. Had a nice note today, and I wanted to pull it up, and I can't remember. It came through social media. Don't know which message service through that it came from, but one of our listeners was very kind to stop and tell me the whole story. Here it is. It was over Facebook. Doug reached out and told me his whole story about how they found something that on him, it turned out to be precancerous, I think he said, but it was something he was glad he found, and he would not have gone without the urging that we do every day for Southern Skies, and he just wanted to give him a shout out to me. Appreciate y'all taking the time to do that. Glad that worked out for you, Doug. Y'all listen, Southern Skies only does skin cancer. There are a lot of great dermatologists in town that do a number of things, but their founding from the very first days, which is why they're called Southern Skies, it evokes the sun, because there's a lot of sun damage here in the South. It's just how we roll. And so they set up shop probably, I guess, more than 20 years ago just to solve skin cancer problems. They've got the latest technology for both detection and removal, highly trained staff. Dr. Mario is a Mohs expert and a kind soul and really good at what he does. Let them treat you and get rid of that stuff before it becomes worse. SouthernSkiesDermatology.com, SouthernSkiesDermatology.com. Well, if this comes on around a tiki hut when people got the rum out, yeah, it's on.
Mm-hmm.
The song has like two personalities. There's this, and then there's the chorus. It's much more aggressive. You can turn it back up. If you can turn it back up if you want to. See what I mean? And then we go to the dance party. Do you think they sat down and wrote this song, AJ? Like, I imagine when Stairway to Heaven, that it required some composition. Like there's a lady who knows all that glitters is gold. They're sitting there thinking this through like poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the Baha Men said, he had a little notepad. He's like, who let the dogs out? Mm-hmm. Who let the dogs out? I asked my friend, I said, did they trash that bus? And he goes, no, man, they were pretty good clients. Sometimes he used to rent those buses, these rock stars, and they would just leave it. They would just tear things up. Just craziness. Kind of like the Marilyn Manson story from Iron City where he peed in the corner. You know that one, right?
I do.
He peed in the corner of a dressing room. And everybody that goes in there goes, where did he pee in the corner?
Like, I don't think I want to know that.
Hey, I've heard Dixon's promo, and they had reached out to us a while back. The Molly Ringwalds are playing. Is it tonight? I think it's this weekend, isn't it? That's a fun band, man. Y'all go see them. I know we've been giving away tickets in the morning, but if you're into the old 80s throwback stuff, go see them. That's a fun band. Great venue. Good times. I don't know what else is going on. There's I think Alabaster's got their City Fest.
Alabaster got their City Fest going on this weekend. You got the Marvell Caribbean Fest that's happening in Bessemer. There's a lot of different things going on this weekend.
You remember when I got thrown out of Alabaster City Fest one time?
No, wait a minute. How did you get thrown out?
Well, it wasn't really the City Fest.
Right.
They had partnered, and I won't trash the restaurant because it was just some dumb manager that didn't know what he was doing. Remember this?
I remember that because I was there with you when it happened. Yes, I do remember.
This was when you were in hiatus. You were still in hiatus from the cult.
Yes.
And we had a live remote at a restaurant down in Alabaster to promote City Fest, and they paid us to come there. We set up shop around a bunch of high top tables. We've done it a million times. But I can't remember what was going on in the news. I think it was because it was the election year and Trump was up, and we're talking our normal trash. Well, some people decided to complain to the restaurant that they were hosting our show and talking about politics. So the manager came over and demanded to know what I was talking about. I was like, won't you listen to the show, bub? And then he just kept getting uppity about telling me, y'all can't talk about those things. I was like, I'm not letting some dude in an apron with chicken grease all over him tell me what I'm going to talk about. The only time in my entire career I ever packed up and got my computer and went back to the radio station.
I remember
was like,
that because
I quit right in the middle of the remote. I was like, nope, I'm not listening to this. I'm going home. So I drove. So I don't know. I can't remember who was on the board they covered. And I just went straight Diva and drove back to the station and finished the show there.
Yeah.
And I remember Will reached out and said, come over to Chop Fathers. But we had already packed up by then, and we didn't even know if we could get a signal by then. Will was wide open. He said, bring it over here. Should have done it there anyway.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, too. Because, he was like, yeah. You was like, well, if you want me to leave, just tell me to leave. Well, he's like, all right, well, you can go. He's like, all right. Right in the middle of the show.
I'm out. Bouncing, homie. The City Fest itself, though, this wasn't directly coordinated with them. It was just a misunderstanding with some little guy that just didn't get it. But, man, it's a fun event. They do such a good job over at the high school. And I'll never forget the first thing I thought when I got over to the high school that day was like, good God, that's a high school?
Yeah.
They're building high schools like junior colleges now.
Yeah. It makes my old high school just look like a...
I know it.
It was sad.
Mine looks like a little... like a detention facility for the ICE agents. My old high school. It's old red brick 2-story. It looks like the housing projects, but it's still there. Kids still go to school there. Ox Foundation Solutions, bringing you the show tonight. That's another one. I'll be using them also to encapsulate because it's a small crawl space, but nonetheless, it's not like the other part of the house. It's not a crawl space. And so I don't want to ever have to deal with that. And so I'm going to get them to come do it, and they're going to take care of things, and then that'll be solved from the get-go. Some of you are in existing homes, and you know you got moisture issues, you can kind of sense it. Sometimes you can even smell it. You know it's coming up from down there. And that stuff will get in your house, man. It can cause mold spores and get into your heating and air system. The moisture itself can do damage from underneath to the subfloor or even the wooden floors and things inside your home. Let them come and take care of that for you. They do all the services. They'll level your whole house. They can stop the water from coming in, get the water back out, fix those cracks and intrusion points, and then, of course, do the mold remediation. That has to be done right or it's coming right back. It's got to all be gotten. They've got the equipment to do it. And then, of course, once they're done with all that, they encapsulate. That's usually a final step. Now you're protected. All is good. No home with a crawl space should be unencapsulated, even if that, I'm not even sure that's a word. It's Ox Foundation Solutions, oxstrong.com. Again, another sponsor that's been with us probably more than a decade now, oxstrong.com. All right, just mopping up, cleaning up, trying to make sure I hadn't missed anything. We already did the Baja Boys, so the most important stuff is taken up. Sometimes we'll look forward on Friday to whatever is going down next week. Last weekend, we had the pending court ruling. We had so many things that were coming up this week, so it's hard to know what we'll be into by next week. But one thing you will know, we will be here for you day in and day out through the weather situations and all the breaking news. We've done it for years right here on Talk 99.5. Alabama Gold Refinery, last sponsor of the show. Gold is timeless. Gold is essential. If all hell breaks loose, it'll be the most valuable thing you can have in your possession. So have some in your possession. You got to do it before that time comes, and they're ready to help you at Alabama Gold Refinery. Steve's a great guy. He's got a centrally located shop, all the security and things that you need to make those transactions, whether you're buying gold or selling. He'll buy from you. If you've got some you want to cash out, or you've got some older pieces you just want to trade them in, he'll help you with that too. It's just a fine place. Coins, antique stuff, beautiful shop, fun things in there as well. Go see him in Homewood across from the Regions Bank right there on 29th. It's Alabama Gold Refinery, AGR, Alabama Gold Refinery.com. All right, we'll see y'all on Monday. Have a good weekend. Stay dry on Sunday. Take it easy, AJ.
You too, man. Get all that stuff done before the rain gets here.
I'm going to move some dirt right now.
All right, man. Stay tuned for Breaking Break coming up next. Goodbye, AJ.